Daf Yomi, Bava, Batra, page 153b, top of the page. Actually, it's the middle of something, so start from the Gemara, it's the last line of 153a. The Gemara says, excuse me, Ahu matanta dahava kasava kad hava kasir urime garse below kasav ba umigo mare iftar lebeit olme. There was a deed pertaining to a certain gift of a person on his deathbed, in which it was written that the gift was bestowed when the giver was sick and lying in his bed, but the continuation of the standard formula, and from his sickness he departed to his eternal home, was not written in it. The giver's heirs claimed that although he was ill when he wrote the deed, he later recovered, and his gift is not valid. Okay, so now we're on 153b. Amar Rabba. Rabba said, Hare meis v'hare kivro mochiach alav. Amar le Rabbi. Hashda umasfina shiruban le'aved. Nosnale nechumri chaim. Nechumri mesim. Chulin. Shirav chulin l'chaim l'kol shein. Rabbi said, he is dead, and his grave proves that he died. He may therefore be assumed that he did not recover from his sickness, obviously, and his gift remains valid. Abai said to him, and now, if in the case of a ship that sank, where the fate of most of the passengers of sunken ships is to perish, the stringencies of the living and the stringencies of the dead are applied to them due to the uncertainty as to whether they are alive or dead. In the case of sick people, where the fate of most sick people is to return to life, all the more so is it not clear that one should assume that he recovered from the illness and his gift is invalid. Amar Rav Huna Daf Yehoshua. Rav Huna, son of Yehoshua, said, Kiman azla hashmaita derava karabi Natan. Karabi Nasan. Tanya mi moitzi miyad mi. Hu moitzi mi dehen below raya. Behen ein moitzien miyado ela beraya. Divrei Rabbi Yaakov. Rav Huna, the son of Yehoshua, said, in accordance with whose opinion is that halacha of Rabbah? It is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Natan, as it is taught in Braita with regard to a case where one who gave his property to others claims that since he was on his deathbed at the time, he can retract the gift, and the recipient's claim that he was healthy and cannot retract it. Who removes the property from whose possession? The giver can remove it from the recipient's possession without proof, as the property was previously established to be in his possession, but the recipients can remove it from the giver's possession only with proof. This is the statement of Rabbi Yaakov. Rabbi Nasan Omer, Im barihu alav. Rabbi Natan says the presumption is that the current situation reflects the situation at the time the gift was bestowed. Therefore, if he is currently healthy, the obligation is upon him to bring proof that he was on his deathbed when he gave his property to others. If he is currently on his deathbed, the obligation is upon the recipients to bring proof that he was healthy then. Amar Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Elazar says, "Latuma kemachloikis. It's non bika b'yomos hachama rishus yachid Shabbos rishus Rabbi Latuma." Rabbi Elazar says with regard to a case of uncertain ritual impurity, halacha depends on the same dispute. This is, as we learned in the Mishnah, Taharot 6:7. The halacha is that a case where it is uncertain if something or someone became impure in the public domain, the item or person is deemed pure. With regard to an expanse of fields in the summer when many people pass through the fields, it is considered the private domain with regard to the halakha of Shabbat, but it is considered public domain with regard to the halakha of ritual impurity. And if one is uncertain as to whether he was rendered impure, there he is deemed pure. In the rainy season, when not so many people pass through the field, an expanse of fields is considered the private domain, both with disregard to Shabbat and with regard to that to ritual impurity. Therefore, if one is uncertain whether he was rendered impure there, he is deemed impure. Okay? If one does not know whether the day he entered the expanse of the field was considered part of the summer or the rainy season, and he is uncertain whether he was rendered impure there, Yaakov maintains that he retains the status of purity that he held before entering the fields. According to Natan, it is presumed that he entered the field during the same season in which he came to ask whether he was rendered impure. Amar Rava, Lo shana ela shelo avru alav yimos hagishamim, aval avru alav yimos hagishamim rishus hayachid l'kan l'kan. Rava disagrees with Rabbi Elazar and says they taught the ruling of the Mishnah only with regard to a case where the rainy season has not yet passed over the fields after the possibility arose that the fields contain impurity. But if the rainy season has already passed over the fields, it is considered the private domain, both with regard to this Shabbat and with regard to that ritual impurity. Even though the one who passed through the fields came to ask about his status in the summer, when the fields should be considered the public domain, he is nevertheless deemed impure, even according to Rabbi Natan, and there is no parallel dispute with regard to uncertain ritual impurity. The Mishnah teaches, and the rabbis say the burden of proof rests upon the claimant, and since the property is in the possession of the giver, the recipients must bring proof that they have the right to receive it. And now is the portion of Zohar for each daf. We'll go generally according to the week, which this week is Parshas Toldos. So we're up to page 136a in the Zohar, Parshas Toldos, in the Sensino translation of the Zohar. And Benaiah, the son of Yehoiada, the son of a living man. 2 Samuel 23:20. In other words, a righteous man who illumines his generation as the living deity above illumines the universe. As God illumines the universe. So the well constantly looks to the living one to be illumined. Further, the statement that Isaac dwelled by Be'er Lachai Ro'i teaches the same lesson as the statement in Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah, Genesis 25:20, and abode with her and was united with her, symbolizing in this way the union of darkness with night. As it is written, his left hand under my head. Song of Solomon. I think it's chapter 2, verse 6. Smolo tachal roshi, I think. Observe now that after Abraham's death, Isaac remained in Kiryat Arba. How then? It may be asked, can it say that he dwelt in Be'er Lachai Ro'i? The answer is to indicate that Isaac attached himself and held fast to that well in order to awaken the attribute of mercy, as already explained. Maybe we'll go for That's the 136. I'll stop here. 136A.